What do you think about Bud Light?
Gay. Piss. Gay piss.
I'll give you $50 cash right on the spot if you expose your friends. Steven's like a secret. Are you down? Yeah? Okay, perfect, go. She lost her virginity to her brother last year.
Are you actually serious? What is wrong with you?
No way. How'd you know that?
I'm my brother.
Oh my God!
But then you also have acknowledged that you'll suck her dick.
Correct. Absolutely.
How do you square that in your mind?
Man, this is a good one. I mean, I just truly, like, I really just look at her like a woman, whether she has a dick or not.
And I got news for you. That means you're gay.
And I'm absolutely throwing my support behind Nikki Haley. In fact, I'd even give her a free mustache ride. Hop on, Nikki. The train's leaving the station. Chugga, 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 choo, choo.
Oh, honey, there's that dress I love. Can you hold this?
Yes. Yes, I will, hon. Hold you.
Welcome to the Society of Uncompromising Men.
Brilliant! Brilliant!
So let me get this straight. Less than a month to Election Day, and this is our candidate?
Yep.
All we have to do is get him elected, and then we can do whatever we want.
Stop it. Stop it.
This fall, get ready for a presidential candidate unlike any other.
I think we're good.
Not good.
别忘了拜登 ，Hunter 还欠咱们呢。
Weekend at Biden's.
How long do we have to keep this up?
November 3rd.
You don't have to go to hell. You're in hell. This is hell. This is hell. This is hell.
Because democracy basically means government by the people, of the people, for the people. But the people are retarded.
Then strangled them, and finally dismembered their bodies.
Right.
Then do and homelessness and all that.
And now, the voice you've been waiting for.
There is a secret song at the center of the world, and its sound is like razors through flesh. I'm here to turn up the volume.
I'm kind of retarded.
Well, another week in the books, another presidential primary lost by Nikki Haley. Actually, Nevada had a primary and a caucus. The primary was just ceremonial and basically meaningless, and she couldn't even win that, despite Trump not even being a choice. Almost 2/3 of people, more than 60%, said,
Fuck you!
And picked none of the above over her dumbass.
We didn't even count Nevada. That wasn't anything we were looking at. We knew that was rigged from the start.
Sure.
Our focus is on South Carolina, Michigan, Super Tuesday.
Well, isn't that special?
Of course, like I said, it was totally meaningless. There wasn't any delegates up for grabs with this vote. And 2 days later, they had the caucus, and oh, well, you know what, surprise, Trump won that. But the truth is, she's not dumb. See, a lot of people who are very smart and should know better can't seem to understand why she's staying in the race. It's not because she's stupid. It's not because she's delusional. It's not because she thinks that she might actually win in a primary contest in pretty much any state. What if a little birdie told her that, hey, you know what? You should stay in this race because one way or another, come election day, Trump will be out of the picture, and they're gonna need someone to replace him. And she's also not dumb enough to think that if that someone is her, that she could actually win a general election. She's there to basically do what Mitt Romney did in 2012, to be so odious, so awful, that people said fuck it. Of course, Mitt Romney had a much easier job doing this because at this point in time then, Obama's approval within his own party was a lot higher than Biden's is right now. But if there's anybody that could pull that off, it's Nikki Haley. Someone so disgusting, so full of shit, so war hawkish. I mean, her national defense spending platform is basically, yoo-hoo, Raytheon, Lockheed Martin, come and get it, boys. The muffin shop is open. It even makes Biden look good in comparison. That's what he needs right now. Something to take the attention off the fact that he can't even think, let alone speak. He had another one of his famous fucking goof-ups this week.
I am shocked. Shocked. Well, not that shocked.
Saying that right after he got elected president, he met with a guy that died back in 1996.
You know, right after I was elected, I went to what they call a G7 meeting, all the NATO leaders. It was in the south of England. And I sat down and I said, America's back. And Mitterrand from France looked at me and said, you know, why, how long are you back for?
He's been dead since 1996. Biden wasn't even vice president then.
And then?
And how is President Biden ever going to convince the 3/4 of voters who are worried about his physical and mental health that he is okay, even though in Las Vegas he told a story about recently talking to a French president who died in 1996?
I'm not even going to go down that rabbit hole with you,
What?
sir.
What is
We're
the
going to
rabbit
go.
hole?
Go ahead.
He said
go
he
ahead.
talked to Mitterrand.
Go ahead.
in-
You saw the president in Vegas, in California. You've seen the president in South Carolina. You saw him in Michigan. I'll just leave it there. Go ahead. I'm not even going to go down that rabbit hole with you,
What?
sir.
What is
We're
A rabbit hole. And that's her evidence that he's okay is, well, look, you've seen him in all these states. He's been in Vegas and California and South Carolina and Michigan. We shuffle him around to all these states with somebody to wipe his ass, so that must mean he's just fine. He pissed her off so good she even had those Debo eyes for a second.
There's more.
A lot more?
Much more.
Woo! So then on Thursday, the special counsel appointed by Merrick Garland to investigate Biden's classified documents released a 345-page report that seemed a lot like what Comey did in 2016 with Hillary's classified materials case. Well, yes, okay, Hillary Clinton did mishandle classified information, and it was against the law, but there's no evidence that it was willful or intentional, which seemed strange to a lot of people because that's something the DOJ never gave a fuck about before. But he said no reasonable DA would prosecute her, which was really just saying that any reasonable DA would know that prosecuting her would get you hung from a tree and shot and ruled a suicide. Well, this time they went with, yeah, what he did was illegal, but he's old and confused and his memory is shit. Again, something I'm not aware of them ever giving a fuck about before in any other case. Because they're talking about shit that dates back to 2009 when he was the new vice president, and he wasn't old and confused and demented back then. Some of this shit dates back even further than that when he was just a senator. But, at trial, Mr. Biden would likely present himself to a jury, as he did during our interview of him, as a sympathetic, well-meaning, elderly man with a poor memory. So it's the Uncle Leo defense.
You're under arrest.
I'm an old man. I'm confused.
And it's hilarious because they're basically saying that he's too old and senile to stand trial and be punished, but somehow he's okay to keep running the country?
Right.
And then inexplicably, even though there was no need for them to address this report, they could have just let the news report on it, and you know they would have covered for his ass. They sent Biden out to do a press conference after dark and let him take questions with Peter Doocy there.
Why would you do that?
Something the special counsel said in his report is that one of the reasons you were not charged is because, in his description, you are a well-meaning elderly man with a poor memory.
I'm well-meaning, and I'm an elderly man, and I know what the hell I'm doing. I've been president. I put this country back on its feet. I don't need his recommendation. It's
How
totally
bad is your memory, and can you continue as president?
My memory is so bad I let you speak.
And he wasn't the only one asking actual questions. They even asked him about the part in the report where they said he couldn't even remember when his son Beau died. And like most old, senile people, when someone points out their inability to remember something that they definitely should be able to remember, they respond with anger.
He raised that. Frankly, when I was asked the question, I thought to myself, it wasn't any of their damn business. Let me tell you something.
Yes, how dare you even ask me about my son?
Some of you have commented, I wear since the day he died, every single day, the rosary he got from Our Lady of... Every Memorial Day we hold a service remembering him, attending...
Oh, you forgot the name of the church, huh? Our Lady of what?
Every single day, the rosary he got from Our Lady of...
And then right when you thought the bloodbath was over and he started to walk off, a bunch of them started shouting shit, and one of them got him riled up, and he comes back over to the podium. And you know, his people off on the side were like, "Oh no!" But he walks back up to the podium and starts rambling about Gaza and Israel.
The conduct of the response in Gaza, in the Gaza Strip, has been over the top. Oh no! I think that, as you know, initially the president of Mexico, Sisi, did not want to open up the gate to allow humanitarian material to get in. I talked to him. I convinced him to open the gate. I talked to Bibi to open the gate on the Israeli side.
See, and then he got the fucking president of Mexico mixed up with Sisi, the president of Egypt.
It's his whole other country.
And bear in mind, the entire point of this press conference was to dispel and generally tamp down the rumors that he isn't mentally fit.
Oh, the irony! It's too much!
And then on Capitol Hill, the Republicans shot down the so-called border bill, which really had way more to do with Ukraine and Israel than it did the fucking border. And the corporate mockingbird media spent the week trying to frame it as, this just shows that these people are all on Donald Trump's dick and they'll do whatever he tells them to do, and he just doesn't want the border to be fixed because he wants to run on this issue.
Bullshit.
Just a few months ago, it wasn't even a fucking problem. What were these shitbags saying for 3 years now?
The border is closed. The border is secure.
The border is secure.
Oh, and now what are they saying?
The only reason the border is not secure is Donald Trump and his MAGA Republican friends.
Yes, hilarious. After 3 years of Trump not being in office, suddenly the border's fucked up and it's Trump's fault. And I love the byline on this article. Bill would have granted president new power to shut border. Well, the funny thing is, it would have also granted him power to not shut the border. It basically made the president the total fucking dictator of what goes on at the border and answerable to no one except for one corrupt D.C. court. Yes, it struck down all judicial review except for the one court that they completely control. Plus the fact that he already has the fucking power to close the border. But to me, it seems like this bill was designed and written to fail. And that way they could try to say, oh, well, the border would have gotten fixed if it weren't for Trump's stranglehold on the party. But the only people buying that are the ones that are so hopelessly stupid anyway that it really doesn't even make a difference. And then the Republicans also held a vote to impeach Mayorkas.
Finally!
Which failed.
God damn it, are you fucking with me?
Because of 3 bribed, blackmailed, or otherwise compromised douchebags decided that, get this, hadn't seen any evidence that Mayorkas had done anything wrong.
Fuck you.
And then yesterday, they went back and they passed the funding for Ukraine and Israel part of the border bill, while everybody was busy with the Super Bowl bullshit. And of course I gotta mention the Tucker Carlson Putin interview, which people were talking up all week, and a lot of people had really high hopes like maybe this dude was gonna single-handedly prevent World War III with this interview. I didn't watch it when it dropped on Thursday, but when I woke up Friday morning and it was still up there on YouTube with 5.2 million views on Tucker's channel, I immediately knew there wasn't gonna be any kind of bombshell surprise in there. I mean, don't get me wrong, it wasn't a bad interview, but it was basically exposing a lot of normies to the stuff that people that have been paying attention for the past few years already pretty much had heard Putin say. And whether or not you've watched the whole 2-hour interview, I would absolutely recommend checking out this body language video on it. This is a really good channel, and she does some really interesting analysis of Putin's body language throughout the interview. And she does a lot of other really good body language videos. It's a channel that's worth checking out. She doesn't put out quite as many videos as she used to, but they are good. And as for what to expect for the rest of this year, past few days I've been thinking, and you know, it's not out of the realm of possibility that they could let Trump get back into office, only to let everything purposefully come crashing down on his fucking head. Back at the end of the 20s when the Depression started, they called all those little shanty towns Hoovervilles, even though it wasn't Herbert Hoover's policies that caused the Great Depression. It should have been Woodrow Wilson that got the fucking blame for that shit, but because Hoover was in office when it all came crashing down, he got all the blame. And if it gets crazy enough and the continuity of government kicks in, they're going to be able to isolate Trump and keep him under wraps even more than they did during his first term. It'll also be a way of poo-pooing the idea of ever giving the political reins of power to an outsider ever again. I'm just saying, there's a lot of different ways that this fucking could go. A lot of different plans that they could pull the trigger on, and I am starting to think that this is a possibility. Just maybe something to think about. Slancha.
All I have in this world is my balls and my word, and I don't break them for no one. You understand? So say good night. So say good night to the bad guy. So say good night. So say good night to the bad guy. So say good night. So say good night to the bad guy. So say good night. So say good night to the bad guy. Come on. Come on.
Don't fuck with me! I told you! Don't fuck with me! I told you! Don't fuck with me! You stupid fuck! Look at you now! Look at you now!
Please consider liking, subscribing, sharing this video, or leaving a comment. Because every time you do nothing, Vladimir Putin will shoot another puppy.